Welcome to Dialogue 6. I hope this stuff is sinking in. I hope it's not too confusing. It's going to become more clear once you're doing it for yourself. This lesson is very straightforward, but it's very important. When we're editing our film, we always have to stay grounded in what emotion do we want our audience to feel. Because sometimes it can be so hard, so difficult to just make a scene work that you can lose sight of that. Here's a mild example of this. What I'm about to show you isn't necessarily wrong, but it's something we need to be aware of. I'm going to bring this up in full screen. Get you guys out of the way. Here we go.
Without passing through here first.
We need a sheriff. Folks are saying it should be you.
Okay, let me replay that and focus on the emotional change in her dialogue when it goes from her shot to the over-the-shoulder shot to him.
Way without passing through here first.
We need a sheriff. Folks are saying it should be you.
This works fine, okay, but I want her to stay a little more serious on him. And so if I jump over to the edit page,
Need a sheriff.
I'm going to bring this clip up by hitting F, and let's watch this. This isn't color graded, so that's why it's different. Now I'm watching this.
We need a sheriff. Folks are saying it should be you.
There we go. That's what I want. I want her to stay serious. Cool. So what we can do, since I'm using this right here, I don't have to bring it in separately. I can just extend this clip because this is the serious clip, all right? So let me just do that. There it is. Perfect. Now, as you can see, the dialogue is starting at different points just because of how I've paced my picture at it, right? So what I need to do is just cut this and then try and line it up. So let me just zoom in a little more. I'm going to make it start, close, play them together.
Folks are
All right, that's pretty close. We don't see her actual mouth, so this is a lot easier.
Folks are saying it.
Go a little more.
Folks are saying it should be you.
But she's saying it differently. This one extends a little bit. But you know what? Since we're not on her face, let's just hit D to disable this audio and see how this plays.
We need a sheriff. Folks are saying it should be you.
If you really study her, you can see there's a little bit of difference. But normally the audience is going to be focusing on him here. In fact, even on studio stuff, if you study over-the-shoulder shots with big actors, you're going to see an actor here doing something a little different than what's actually happening. It's very subtle. You have to really pay attention to it, but you start to notice that stuff as you start editing more. You're like, because you're keyed in on it. So let me back out of this. So what can we do here? Well, I can keep finagling this, but it's always going to be a different length in the delivery. What I would like to do is compress that a little bit without affecting the pitch. And guess what? You can. It's called the Elastic WAV Tool. So if I right click, here is Elastic Wave, and I can set it to voice. And if I place my cursor at the end of the clip, I have a different icon than normal. And if I click and drag, it's going to resize this. Now, I'm not going to do that right now because I've had some funky stuff happen before with Elastic Wave. So I'm first going to make a completely separate audio file of this and then change it. So what I'm going to do is draw a range around this, and then I'm going to go to Timeline, Bounce Selected Tracks to New Layer. And now look, the name changed to D1 Bounce. So this is no longer the audio from my Scene 13F Take 2, okay? So now I'm going to right click, go to Elastic Wave, Voice. Zoom in here, and now let's match this. And see, everything is lining up a little better. And if it was just a certain part of this, like if it was completely in sync for the first half and then got off, you could cut the clip and just adjust that part. But let's listen to this now with both of them. So I'm going to hit D to reactivate this.
Folks are saying it should be you.
All right, that's really close. I'm not saying you couldn't tweak it more, but that's close. So now her body movement is going to be a lot better.
Without passing through here first.
We need a sheriff. Folks are saying it should be you.
Could use a little more tweaking, but that's better. And again, this is very subtle stuff, but the main goal is to protect the emotions that I want for this character to have and ultimately for my audience to experience right here. So that's the Elastic Wave Tool. Now this tool can also save you when you're right on the actor. It's not an over-the-shoulder shot, but you've got a line that has problems and the camera's on the character. Sometimes you have to do ADR, and sometimes you can just grab the audio from another take. So let's look at another example in Reckoning where I had to do that. Oh, but actually two things I forgot to tell you. One, if you want to undo the Elastic Wave, you right click, go to Elastic Wave and turn it off. But let me tell you, when you do that, it's not going to go back to what it was. You're better off using your undo history to remove it that way. If I disable that right now, it would place the audio in a completely different place. So whether that's a bug or it's just how it is, just know that. And then 2, we bounced a file. Where do we get that? Well, if you do Option F, it's going to show you the media, and see that created a new file in your clips and then also on your hard drive in our capture location that we set in our project settings. You could always just rename this to something else, add a line replace scene 13, so that way you don't accidentally delete something you think you don't need, etc. Okay, so let's look at the other example. Let me play this really fast.
They're not letting you be sergeant.
Oh, that makes 2 of us.
So he had a lot of noise with his coat that totally destroyed that dialogue. I could try the voice isolation, but the frequency range for his coat and his dialogue are probably too close together. Let's go here, voice isolation.
Oh, that makes 2 of us.
Didn't work. I mean, if I lower it,
Oh, that makes 2 of us.
just doesn't sound good. So voice isolation is not going to work. So something else you could do is, of course, an ADR session with the actor, but he lives in Texas, I live in North Carolina. That's not going to happen. So what else do you do? This is kind of a bad situation. Well, first off, it's a good note for us as directors. If we've got someone with loud clothing movement, saying a line while they're moving, sitting down like this, we always need to get them to say those lines while they're not moving. And then as an editor, we need to know our footage. So what I did is I started looking for that line in another take. And lo and behold, this take while he's sitting down on a closer shot, he actually says it, which is going to save us. Let me go to the edit page. I'm going to pull that take up.
Oh, that makes 2 of us.
Okay, that's a lot better. That's doable. I can remove that background ambience if needed. Let's mark an in. Got an in and an out. I'm going to disable video and select A2, and then I can use overwrite. It's not overwriting anything. And let's go to Fairlight. Okay, so solo, this is the production sound. All right, so it's right there. So I need to move this to right there, play them together.
That makes 2 of us.
Okay, we have the opposite problem this time. The sound we're wanting to use is shorter. It's said faster than the sound we're replacing. And we're right on his face. So that's going to be tough, right? Well, this is when the elastic WAV tool comes in beautifully. So what we're going to do, I'm not going to bounce it this time. I'm just going to use the tool and see if it works without doing anything bad. Normally it will work without that bounce, okay? I just ran into something today doing the lesson where it went crazy on me, so I just bounced it first while doing the lesson to avoid that. So let's right click, elastic wave, voice. Let's make these even larger. Okay, so I'm going to grab it. Okay, let's play them together.
Oh, that makes 2 of us.
It's pretty close. Let's mute this one and bring that up full screen.
Oh, that makes 2 of us.
This is going to work. I'm not going to waste your time finessing it right now, but that is going to save us. Now, something else I haven't told you, a couple things actually. Number 1, after you do the elastic wave and get it really dialed in, I would go ahead and bounce that because I have seen it do weird stuff later and you don't want to deal with that. And then also, if for any reason it gets disabled by accident, which I think I said this a minute ago, if I turn that off, it's not going to leave it where it was. It's going to go somewhere crazy on the clip. So what I would do is draw a range and draw it all the way outside the clip. I'm going to do it shorter just to show you something really fast, but let's just do that. And then click on just that track, go to timeline, bounce selected tracks to new layer. Clear the in and out, go back to my pointer mode. Okay, look at this. So I've got the new track, it's got a different name, all right? So that elastic wave tool effect is baked in. See, if I right click on this, go to elastic wave, it's off. Cool. But look at this. Since I drew the range too small, there's still something right here. What is that? Well, notice when we go to timeline, bounce selected tracks to new layer, it's not saying bounce selected tracks to new track. It's a new layer on top of your original audio. And that's what this is here. If I click this and do delete selected, for example, the original audio is still there. Let me undo that. Or if I just move it off, see, there it is. So all that to say, if I were to come over here and just delete that extra tag, it's going to delete the original clip. It's not removing it off our hard drive or anything or out of our media pool, but if you want it to stay there, don't do that. All that to say, when you draw that original range, draw all the way around. Or if you're confident that you don't need the source clip or you can get it later, then yeah, just remove it. And then remember, I'm going to click on the new file it created, do Option F, and there we have it here. Let me see the full name. I'm going to give it a better name, whatever you want to call it, just so you know what it is later on, so you don't accidentally delete it. And there we go. Thinking outside the box, not limiting ourselves as sound designers, can save us with our dialogue editing, especially with tools like the elastic WAV tool. In the first example, we protected the emotions of our actress, what we wanted the audience to feel, and we were able to use elastic WAV to get it to match her over-the-shoulder body movement. And then in the second one, the elastic WAV tool saved me on an ADR session that I couldn't do without a lot of money. I mean, I would have been in a tough spot in Reckoning without that tool. And then when we cover ADR later, automated dialogue replacement, you're going to use elastic WAV to get things to jive there as well. All right? In the next lesson, we're going to just go over some other examples using some of these tools with problem sound in Reckoning. And then we're approaching the end of dialogue editing. Thanks for hanging with me. Hit up the community with questions, and I will see you in the next lesson soon.